Good motherfucking morning, motherfucking base. Boys. Good motherfucking morning, ladies. How are we all doing on this most beautiful of Tuesdays? Tuesday mornings. We good? We chillin'? We gooch? Tam gooch? Pretty good. I see we have some
Forsen! Click my link, Forsen!
I see we have some awful new emotes. Unfortunately. It's a fucking disgrace, man. It's a terrible day to have eyes, I think. But we do have eyes, and we are here back in black, dark blue, for another episode of Pooh. Hello. Hi. Have you come to be a menace? Yeah, you can stay here. You can go in the bed. Yeah, it's okay. No, she leaves. Okay. Fuck you. Yeah, that's pretty much her thought process. Yes, we are indeed back again. It feels good to be back. It's been a while. Sora, welcome back. 30 months. We got Neslico, Benerf, Hellfire, Sverdig. We got Benj 2005, Malvo, Boris. Very nice. Alfonso, Mousonator, and Sileon. Thanks for subbing. Boris, 8 years in a row. Can you believe it? I can barely believe it. Here you go, sir. Here's your cringe face. This says tryhard 7. Tryhard 7. I was gonna say something, but I forgot. It'll come back to me in due time. Joe Biden, you have to yield. Do anything cool, fresh, new, exciting happening in the world today, chat? Yesterday, maybe. Tomorrow, potentially. Australia bans social media for under 16. Wow, that's a step in the right direction. You know, when China was the only ones doing this shit, you know, almost a decade ago, you know, when they were limiting people from using internet under a certain age, I was like, damn, the West should really follow this example, because I see firsthand every day the spawns that get spawned from this shit. Alright, my man, alright, if I run a country, no internet for more than 1 hour a day, so you only spend it on useful things like, can my dog eat chocolate, you know, and shit like that. Yeah, I don't want to become famous. Stop. This guy is having trouble finding my house. Okay. Very good. Very good. Anything else though? No. Trump threatens Mexico and Colombia, the Bioshock Colombia, with military force. What the fuck do you mean, the Bioshock Colombia? What the hell is a Bioshock Colombia? I don't get it. I don't get it. Alright. Starmer, future king of planets, world moves to space in 2037, real. I understood like 30% of that. I don't know what the fuck you're saying. I don't know what the fuck you're saying. Former OnlyFans creator Bonnie Blue has been detained in Indonesia.
Forsen, I wanted to ask why you think Ricky got banned on Twitch. Lil bro did nothing wrong. Bro was just vibing. Also, bro, show your Spotify rap.
Ricky?
Force be absolutely wilding as of late. Sitcom link.
Rakai, I have no idea who that is. I haven't even heard the name in my entire life. So I don't know what he would have done, but probably something not good. Because I do shit all the time and I've been dodging
I bet
bullets
somebody
left and right.
already donated this.
I bet so too. Let's hope not for your sake. Spotify. I don't have Spotify. Or I have a Spotify account, but I don't use it. I don't know. I got tea today, boys. What kind? Peppermint tea. Peppermint tea. I don't really drink tea, but I was offered a tea.
Forsen is literally anti-Semitic. 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 Forsen is literally.
Alright, you fucking retard. Shut the hell up, man. Alright, I'm anti all religions. Alright, chat. Listen to me very carefully. I just fucked my asshole. Fuck. Not a ghost, thank you, man. Fuck Crutch. We got Koishi, Skank, Dolph the Gay. Welcome back as well. Alright, let's see. We got links, boys. We got links. Who's excited for some links? I am excited for links.
Stalin and
hello, Forsen. Forsen, I noticed that your title says games and shit.
Wow.
But I'm not seeing any games. Does that mean that I'm in the shit part of your stream right now? Also, Kumal is king.
You're definitely in the shit part of the stream right now. Alright, here we go, links.
And my dad, when they were 10 years old, so perhaps he might like to reconsider his joke.
See, that's the reality of your jokes, although I haven't ascertained yet whether you are joking when you say that Hitler was very fucking cool. Are you joking, or do you actually think he was very fucking cool? The most genocidal monster of the last 150 years?
Yeah, the thing is, my generation, we're just done with the pearl clutching, you know?
Yeah, you might be, but then your generation hasn't gone through what Danny Finkelstein's family went through. So yeah, maybe the pearl clutching has a way to go for families whose family members
oh my
were
gosh,
murdered.
yeah, We got all that. We, me mom. Like we're, I don't even know who this person is. Why is this person talking to me? This old British guy is saying me mom got killed by Hitler.
Because
and
he doesn't
dad
find
got
it
killed
funny
by...
when you say Hitler's very fucking cool.
I don't care.
He finds
I don't care.
I know you don't care. That's fine. You don't have to care. But he does care.
Does that guy care about America? Does that guy care about me and my country and my family? No.
He cares what you,
That's
a
the
prominent
problem.
conservative in America, has to say about Adolf Hitler. And what do you mean by Hitler is very fucking cool? Because I think he's very fucking a monster.
Okay. And that's a clip. I think he's very fucking a monster. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, I
mean,
do.
Can we all grow up?
I do.
Can we all grow
He
up?
murdered
That
12
is just
million
childish.
people. He murdered 12 million
Okay.
people. What is very fucking cool about that? Tell me.
The edits, it's just cool. The uniforms, the parades, it's cool as a guy. You look at World War II and it's fascinating and it's interesting and it's compelling and it's cool. And we're just tired of saying these kinds of things. We want to talk like real people and give our honest opinions. And then we literally get an old Jewish guy from England who's going to say, "Oh, that's not very funny, mate. Me mom," and it's like, shut up. Like, no one is in favor of genocide. So let's just get that out of the way. We're not in favor of a Holocaust or genocide.
Do you think if half
It's
your
80
family
years ago.
you think if half your family had been wiped out by very fucking cool Hitler, you'd still think he was very fucking cool? Or would you think that actually he was a despicable monster who murdered 12 million people, who targeted people because they were disabled?
You've
or
really
Jewish,
done it now,
or
chat.
Roman
Here's
Catholics,
another fucking
whatever it may
sitcom
be.
link. You
And then he
people spam your
systematically
little
destroyed
medals
people,
and shit like
incinerated
that,
them in
but
gas
you've
chambers.
really done
Do you
it.
think that you would
At
find
the
it
end of
very
the day,
fucking cool
you
if
laugh.
your
You
family
all laugh.
had been through that? Or do you think you would find it very fucking disgusting? And perhaps moderate the number of times you laugh about it, or want to joke about it, or want to abuse someone like Danny Finkelstein, who's written incredibly powerful books about what happened to his extended family at the hands of the Nazis and your other hero, Stalin. See, my point to you, Nick Fuentes, is that in parts of this interview, you try to come across as moderate, but every now and again, the mask slips, and it slipped again here with what you say about Hitler. There's nothing very fucking cool about Hitler. We know that from history now. We know what he did. You've already conceded that he murdered at least 6 million Jews. So when you say he's very fucking cool, Jewish people watch this and go, this guy's disgusting. Why would he say this about someone who perpetrated such an evil? And what's the real answer? Why do you? Is it just for clicks? Is it for money? Is it just for fun? For shits and giggles? What is it? What motivates you to say something like Hitler was very fucking cool?
It's for this. It's for all of this. And the lack of self-awareness is amazing. You're a boomer. You're a 60-year-old boomer. And we've spent maybe 3 minutes on you saying, he's a really fucking monster. He incinerated people. And I'm sitting here saying it's not that serious. It's not that deep. And
Not that
and what
serious.
I'm getting at.
Not that serious.
Do you want to say more about
Well, you're not
he's
a kid.
a monster?
You're not a kid yourself anymore. You're not a teenager.
I know.
Right?
I know.
You're nearly 30, to be clear.
Yeah,
okay? You're a
I
fully
know.
formed adult who has a brain, right? And at some stage, that brain is taking you off these
Is
rabbit
this an
warrens.
interview or is this a lecture? Can I respond to what you're saying?
I want
in
you
full?
to explain why you think it's fine to say how fucking cool Hitler is and to dismiss.
Besuch bei Professor Arno Breker, dem Schöpfer hervorragendster Werke neuer deutscher Plastik. Aus der kleinen Tonskizze entsteht in immer größeren Maßstäben das
Woman is the king of rolling boats.
15 Meter betragen wird.
Woman is king. 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 Woman.
Alright, this is a fucking song request, man. Alright.
A parasocial relationship is any sort of one-sided social relationship where the admiration and feeling on the one end are not reciprocated on the other.
None of your content creators, your favorite ones, including me, are your friends.
Live streaming platforms like Twitch can simulate the conditions of friendship between viewers and streamers. The same dynamic applies to some degree on YouTube, OnlyFans, and Twitter as a symptom of the loneliness inherent in capitalist consumer cultures. More on that at the end of the video. According to the research on parasocial relationships, the greater the frequency of parasocial interaction, the more likely a parasocial relationship will form, and the greater that devotion will be. The very platforms of OnlyFans and Twitch seem to be catered to lonely consumers, the platforms having evolved the media forms of their predecessors by encouraging direct interaction with creators. Streamers become perceived friends who will never leave, friends that aren't as likely to disappoint you as much as a relationship with some other person's expectations involved. There's quite a lot out there to indicate that people involved in parasocial relationships are actually lonely. One paper on loneliness states that the best indication of future loneliness is past loneliness. Using the findings of a couple of cohort studies, this paper, Alone in a Crowd, describes how loneliness actually spreads from person to person. As a part of the studies, examinations were conducted periodically, gauging how lonely the participants were through a questionnaire. The researchers also asked the participants to name those that they thought of as friends. Generating an image of what the average lonely individual might look like, the results of these examinations were both unsurprising and profound. Those with more friends were less likely to experience loneliness in the future, whereas those that were lonely not only tended to receive less friendship nominations, but they'd also lose some of the friends they already had by the time of the next examination. But what's really interesting to me about these studies is that proximity mattered. According to the data, having distant friends didn't affect how lonely an individual was. In light of this, the researchers suggested that the spread of loneliness may be caused by frequent social contact with lonely persons. Loneliness obviously isn't the only thing that spreads from person to person, and there isn't any debate about the fact that proper social connection feels good. Viewers are probably more likely to think of their favorite media figure as a friend the more lonely they are, using these individuals as content to fill the void of social interaction in their lives. Viewers turn towards content creators for two reasons: not only entertainment, but also for the illusion of social interaction. Just like is stated here, perceived isolation is a more successful marker of loneliness than actual isolation, which also implies that if one is truly alone but doesn't perceive themselves as such, they'll not be as likely to actually feel lonely. The illusion of connection with the streamer or a YouTuber themselves, and the community surrounding such individuals, both supply a perceived sense of community and intimate connection, which can help the viewer to not feel so alone, at least until the stream ends. What makes content creators so especially alluring to lonesome viewers nowadays is the quality of presence assigned to their streams. Not only do streams offer more means of interacting with streamers, they also feel more intimate, because the streamer really is on the other end of their screen in real time. Watching a stream live feels like sharing a moment together. A celebrity's presence has always been a large part of celebrity worship and parasocial relationships. Just like how the proximity of friends mattered in the earlier studies' evaluation of the participants' loneliness, the presence of celebrities seems to have an effect on the intensity of feeling fans have for them. Being where a celebrity is, in real life or merely online, increases the likelihood of parasocial interaction. I think that's why this quote-unquote problem has gotten to be so quote-unquote bad. Celebrities aren't just confined to one platform. The same
Hello,
celebrities are
Mr.
everywhere,
Force.
and the same people
What's
are
your
attempting
take
interaction
on
with them
piracy?
wherever they can be
Would you
found.
pirate if it was
Time
safe
spent
and
watching,
easier
focus
than
on
buying
chat,
another
donations
game
made,
or
merchandise
subscription?
bought,
Also,
and
what
replies made on
games
Twitter
are
all
you playing
examples of
today?
parasocial
Don't
interaction.
answer,
It's
they
these
gonna
things
be
that are
shit
the catalyst
anyways.
for the extreme attachment and infatuation people have
Piracy,
with
piracy,
parasocial partners.
piracy.
The psychology
I'm
paper
way
on
too lazy
parasocial
now
relationships
to
explains
pirate,
that it was the
so
frequency of these interactions
even if it
that
was
were responsible for how
legal
adolescents felt
or
about their
whatever,
favorite celebrity.
I just
It's safe to
would
say
get
that
it
part
off
of the reason
Steam
viewers
anyway.
involved in parasocial relationships are lonely is because they were lonely already.
I don't think piracy
it
is such a
checks
big
out,
deal.
But
I think
loneliness is both
that
a cause and a consequence of becoming disconnected. Streams can actually make
I think that game
Individuals
studios
involved in
lose less than
parasocial relationships
1%
become disinclined to interact
of
with
their
the people around
income
them.
to
But
piracy.
I think we often
So
forget in these discussions that the person on the
I really
receiving
don't
end
think
of
it's
a
a big deal.
parasocial relationship is also affected. This side of the loneliness of parasocial relationships stems from the fact that content creators aren't treated as real people. Celebrities and content creators produce a replicated image of themselves that fulfills the criteria of a manufactured commodity. All interactions and exchanges are filtered through that image, so that it completely takes the place of the reality of the person it represents. Who owns an experience? Is it the person or people who are responsible for creating it, or is it those who experience it?
He specifically
Content
asked if it was
creators as
easier.
products are not a product in the
It's
traditional sense.
not easier,
Unlike
alright?
platforms which allow for individual
Even if there was
consumption,
a
presence
client
of
just like
celebrities is consumed
Steam,
primarily
who
by
you
groups.
could download the
While
games,
this also adds another component to the loneliness of viewers. It defines
I would still have to
creators
use
and
2
celebrities
clients
as the
because
kind
all the
of
little
capitalistic
games wouldn't be on that
commodity
site,
that is called a
right?
spectacle.
In societies where modern conditions of production prevail, all of life presents itself as an immense accumulation of spectacles. Everything that was directly lived has moved away into a
There
representation.
is a Steam client where you have browse
All
new
you are
games,
is a
download,
series
and
of
it's
experiences
automatically
and not a
downloaded on
being
your
whose
fucking
own
PC.
experiences
I
are
don't
to be
think so,
taken
man.
into
I mean, it's
account.
been
You're nothing but a spectacle
decades
for others
since
to spectate. Sure,
I've seen what
celebrities are
torrents
people,
can do,
of
but
course,
yeah,
it's
I don't
rare to
think
find
so.
anyone who seriously treats them as such. It's precisely that creators and celebrities stand halfway between whatever is
I doubt it.
a person and
Without
abstract
knowing anything about it,
experiences that
I'm just gonna say I
grandstand
doubt
their
it.
parasocial spectacle status.
The spectacle is not a collection of images, but a social relation among people, mediated by images.
Total neutrality is expected from spectacles. As spectators, we prefer to think and say whatever and interpret spectacles however we want. The commodified images of them.
But yeah, I mean, if you don't have money, you don't have money. And you better pirate that shit, right?
Things have changed around here. I eat what I want, I play poker when I want, and I scratch where I want. All because Carrie discovered the apple martini. Huh? Yeah. Every night now she goes out for a drink with this other secretary, and I get, after 6, happy Carrie.
Oh, get out of here, man.
No, I'm serious. She's sweet, she's funny, she's frisky. It's all the beautiful qualities I married her for without the unpleasant aftertaste.
But isn't it better to love the person for who they really are, not what they made artificially nicer by alcohol?
You're adorable. Hey, evening, sweet cakes.
What's up, Car? Hey, what's up, Car?
Do me a favor, take a look at Lou's cards and blink twice if he can beat a pair of jacks.
What are you doing?
What? You said we could play.
Yeah, in the garage.
Well, it's kind of cold out there, and there's a car.
So you just decided to come in here and put a huge scratch in the hardwood floor?
Oh, yeah, we were moving the couch, and Spence buckled.
And who spilled the beer?
Again, that would be Spence.
Well, haven't we been busy? That's great, buddy. That's why I don't like you guys playing in here. And while we're at it, let's say bye-bye to the stogies. Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I'm not seeing the difference.
Sorry about the mess out there. But the good news is I'm up $11, and that's going straight towards your mink stole. So you're home earlier than usual. You didn't stop off for a drink with your friend tonight?
Nope. I'm pretty sure we're never gonna be hanging out ever again.
But why not?
She told my boss I was stealing because she wants my job.
That's nothing. I gotta tell you, Kat, I think you're way overreacting here.
The girl is a backstabbing skank, and I am never hanging out with her again. Why do you care so much anyway?
I mean, I care about you. I just care about keeping you happy.
Oh, yeah? Well, how about we stop chain swallowing yodels? That'll be a start, okay?
Will do. So just for my own schedule, you're not gonna be making any more pit stops after work, right? You're coming straight home.
Yep.
great, Spence. I started this apple martini hour. She couldn't love it more. Every night she comes home from work, we have cocktails, and all of a sudden, I'm Major Nelson and she's my genie. No, you can't be Major Healy. All right, I gotta go.
And humor.
Whether you're a New York Times reader, an NPR fan, a Daily Wire subscriber, or an avid consumer of all things Tucker Carlson, for several months now there's been no avoiding the subject of Nick Fuentes. And let's be clear, the main reason you're hearing about him is because he's popular. A large number of people, especially young men, are interested in what he has to say. What that says about our society and our culture is the subject of ferocious debate. For many people, it's a grave indictment of an insidious immorality. For others, he's a product of a culture which has turned on its own and left many young people feeling listless and bitter. He's either a litmus test for right-wing hypocrisy on free speech or a walking, talking manifestation of where the lines should be drawn. And a frankly preposterous amount of airtime has been spent on debating everything from his ideology to his sexuality and whether anyone should actually talk to him at all.
If I were writing a glossary entry on the Streisand effect, I wouldn't put a picture of her next to it. I would put a picture of Nick Fuentes.
They have opted to not do so when it comes to Nazis like Nick Fuentes.
Fuentes takes this guy apart brick by brick. It's a full takedown.
My concern is that people who are a bit more moderate are deeply alarmed by Nick Fuentes.
I was very happy to see that, like, Nick Fuentes really passed that test with flying colors.
That fragmentation is being caused purposefully by a splinter faction of people led by a young man named Nick Fuentes.
That's the war. Can you get the beef prices down? Not crazy things that Nick Fuentes or these other loons say on social media.
Well, it looks like all the screaming about Nick Fuentes on the internet is finally dying down a little bit.
So now we had on this guy, this Fuentes guy, and never challenged him.
You should have Nick Fuentes on your show and you could ask him questions about that.
The truth is, it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend all this time talking about Nick Fuentes, but not actually to Nick Fuentes. People who say you shouldn't give him a platform overlook the very obvious fact that he already has a platform of his own, which is often bigger than most of the people complaining, and he uses it to speak unchallenged to his many followers. It's on that basis that I've invited him to appear live and uncensored on my platform, and Nick Fuentes joins me now. Nick Fuentes, welcome to Uncensored.
Hi, great to be with you.
I don't know you. I don't think we've ever met. You can correct me if that's wrong. I know about you. I know that increasingly people are talking about you in a more mainstream environment than you may be used to. So for those who know nothing about Nick Fuentes, I want this to be an opportunity to get to the real person. I don't know who that person is, but I do want to use this opportunity to get there. I've seen you talk, as we prepared for this, in exchanges with people and on your show, saying you fear it's going to be very hostile, it's going to be an ambush, all those kind of things. I don't intend it to be overtly hostile. I don't intend to ambush you. I intend it to be an examination of what you said on the record, an examination of what you believe or what you say you believe, and an examination of what your rising popularity says about the state of the conservative movement in America. So those are my goals from this interview. What are your goals? Why are you doing it?
I thought it'd be interesting. And, you know, you've talked a lot about me on your show over the years, and this is the first time you actually extended the invitation.
Okay. The truth is that most Jewish people have lost relatives in the Holocaust. In fact, I want to play you two clips. One is where you talk about Adolf Hitler.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, you know, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right?
You're
Let's
literally
go.
a child.
He was
What the fuck is this guy?
also
Like a fucking
really
zoomer.
fucking cool.
What the fuck?
You regret saying that?
Saying a fact? No, that's absolutely true.
You think Hitler was very fucking cool?
Yes, I do.
One of them,
and I'm tired of pretending he's not.
Well,
to be honest,
this is the problem. You see, it's a bit like when you just say, "I'm a racist." You're a racist who thinks Hitler's cool, but you're not anti-Semitic.
Have we already seen this, man?
Something else you said. This is where you talk about Jews, women, and blacks. Let's just take a listen.
They're always coming up with, no, it's not the Jews. No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise. It's that simple.
That abandoned archive dame you looked the other day is made by the guy who made the famous artificial intelligence VTuber Noro Samra on Twitch.
Everything I said in that clip is true.
Oh, maybe reconsider. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part.
Why is you dev donating?
Yes.
I don't care.
No, for the most part.
What does the most part mean? What percentage of American blacks would you like to see in prison?
Whatever the percentages of the murderers. I think it's 1 in 20 black men will commit a murder in their lifetime. So maybe let's say that 5%.
Oh, so you're talking about black people who murder people?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But you didn't say that.
That's
You just said
problem.
blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. You didn't clarify that you were talking about black murderers.
Right. No, you're right. That's a good addition to that. That's a great point.
You think it's funny or?
I do. I think it's hilarious. I think it's totally true.
Do you think a black American would find it funny? You think that blacks should be imprisoned for the most part?
Blacks are my biggest fans. I get high fives all the time. They say, Nick Fuentes, I love your show. They agree with me. And you want to know why? Here's the difference.
It sounds like
black
Zoomer
people
Trump.
Are the most victimized by other black people. You think black people want to live in the hood and the ghetto and get shot all the time? That's what happens in the south side of Chicago. You should come here. I'll take you there. We could go to Garfield Park.
My son went to Chicago
Inglewood.
University for a year, actually, several years ago.
Yeah, that's a bubble. That's a bubble. You think you're in Chicago and Hyde Park? You don't know Chicago. Go a little bit west, see what it's like over there. And I'll tell you, black people agree with me because they're tired of it too. And maybe not most of them, but a lot of them agree with what I say about that because they know how it is. That's why the first thing they do when they make a little bit of money is they go and leave to another neighborhood.
Okay, so what was just remind
around.
me again, the percentage of black men who commit murder in America. What was the percentage you gave me?
It's 1 in 20. 1 in 20.
It's 1 in 100.
No, it's 1 in 20.
No. Less than 1 in 100 black US men commit murder. That's the most up-to-date crime statistics in America.
That's not true. I've seen other statistics. They say 1 in 20 will eventually commit a murder.
So your rate means that you're saying that 5 times as many black men commit murder as the official crime statistics say.
Yeah, there's a report, I believe, on X by Data Hazard. I'll have to go and double check that for you. But yes, there's some pretty shocking evidence that says that it's far more alarming than you would think.
Okay, but you would accept
Did
that
it say
the official
X
crime
as in
statistics
Twitter?
are 1 in 100? Or you wouldn't accept that statistic?
Oh my
I don't know.
God.
I don't have it in front of me, but I've seen other evidence. Like I said, Data Hazard on X, I believe, produced a report about a year ago. It said 1 in 20. But I mean, whether it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 100, that's a lot of people, Piers. I mean,
Sure,
this is
a lot of white
problem.
people commit murder too. Well, they do, don't they?
Okay, but it's about proportionality. I mean, white people are 65% of the population. Blacks are 13%. And I think anybody would tell you that more black people proportionally commit violent crime than white people. And people vote with their feet. People would rather pay a much higher property tax.
Most mass
What's with the
shootings-
interruptions?
I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, you look at in Chicago, in New York, these neighborhoods are so stratified. People would rather pay a high tax rate. They'd rather pay a much higher property value to live in a less diverse, less black neighborhood because they don't want to live around the violence. And I think that when you look at even on the public transit, the subway, the blue line, you know, people don't want to go there because they know who occupies and menaces the public transit. It is these people like Daniel Penny had to deal with. It's people like Irina Zarutska had to deal with. And that's just the uncomfortable reality.
You've also said you don't want to live near black people. Let's take a listen to this clip.
I'm a new generation of white person. I'm not living around blacks. Sorry. You know, I want white kids, and I don't want my white kids bringing home black people to marry. It's racial for me. And call me racist. Oh, very Christian of you. I don't give a fuck.
Average Christian.
So your wife's in Arizona with the grandkids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, my mom's been to Arizona. She rode one of those mules down in the Grand Canyon. Long story short, they had to shoot it. Because she's so fat. I'll get the door. Well, you finish laughing.
How do you not make a first down there?
They passed against a nickel defense. They should have run it off tackle.
How the hell do you know that?
My father loved football. He always made me watch it before I was allowed to do my homework.
What do you think they ought to do now?
I would throw a quick slant to a wide out, given that the defense is showing blitz.
Oh, I love a good blitz, especially with sour cream. Get it? Because it sounds like blintz.
Did someone say blintz?
You remember the Thanksgiving game when it snowed in Dallas?
1993, Leon Lett blew the game in the final seconds, and the Dolphins emerged victorious. And then I finally got to do my calculus.
I was so pissed I wanted to shoot my TV.
So was my dad. And then he did.
Anyone need a beer?
Yeah.
Thank God.
So, does your dad still live in Texas?
No, he died when I was 14.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So was the man who owned the local liquor store. He cried and cried.
There you go.
Oh, thanks. So if your dad died when you were 14, you were never old enough to have a beer with the man?
No, sir. He did try to give me one for my high school graduation, but I was 11 and my mom said no.
Well, you're having one with me.
All right.
To your dad.
I never had a beer with my dad either.
Do you mind? We're having a moment here.
How's it going out there?
Sheldon and your dad are bonding and completely ignoring me.
I know how you feel. Sheldon ignored me for a week when he got that Roomba vacuum. I kick it when he's not looking.
What are they doing?
They're drinking beer and watching football.
So why don't you do that with them?
They don't want me.
What do you mean?
Well, Sheldon started talking about how his dad isn't alive.
And the humor.
A Georgia couple is sentenced to 100 years behind bars after adopting 2 young boys to repeatedly rape. The dads even installed cameras throughout their family home to capture this ongoing sexual abuse. If that wasn't enough, though, they posted the images and videos online so other predators could view these horrifying crimes. We cover a lot of really intense topics here on Law and Crime, and this one is truly one of the more messed up stories I've ever looked at. I mean, we're talking about 2 young children who are the victims in this story, which unto itself is heartbreaking. But it's an added layer of depravity when we consider that the bad guys in this story are actually the boys' parents. A family's home is supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be a place where the kids can trust their parents and feel at home, but instead, first responders call this a house of horrors. That's a direct quote. Take this as your trigger warning because right now we're going to dive into those details. The parents in this case are 34-year-old William and 36-year-old Zachary Zulock. They're a married couple out of Walton County, Georgia, which is just east of Atlanta. We're not revealing their sons' names to keep the boys' privacy, but we can tell you that right now they're ages 10 and 12, and they were adopted by the Zulocks through a Christian special needs agency. Outwardly, the Zulak family seemed to have it all. William worked for the government and Zachary had a job in banking. Their home was upscale too, in a nice neighborhood of Loganville, Georgia. They posted pics online that were smiling, happy, basically looking like they were the picture-perfect family. They even have a photo wearing shirts that say, "Love my family," with the rainbow flag in support of Pride. But behind this facade, there was something much more sinister. Now, the investigation dates back to July 2022, when the Georgia Bureau of Investigation's Exploitation and Computer Crimes Unit got a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. According to this tip, child sex material was traced to an IP address in Walton County, Georgia. That's the same area where the Zulak family lived. But the person behind this address, it was actually a man named Hunter Lawless, who was caught downloading homemade child porn onto his computer. Lawless fessed up right away, though. He admitted to the crime, but he told investigators it wasn't him who created these images. Instead, he said the person behind this child porn sex ring was a man named Zachary Zulak, and he said Zachary had sent him these images and videos, and in the past offered his sons up to Hunter Lawless. Just a quick note here, Hunter Lawless pleaded guilty to sexual exploitation of children and was sentenced to 20 years in prison. His arrest also led to the arrest of Luis Vicaro Sanchez, who was eventually charged and sentenced to 60 years in prison. Meanwhile, the investigation pointed back to the
60 years. That's a big problem for them. Anemo, Zinix, Haji Bukai, and Anonymous with the gifted sub to Worth Matter. 100 months in a row, actually. Boom. Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you, Sean. No further links, by the way. I'm done with this shit.
I miss fireflies. When I was a kid, we had family reunions every year on Father's Day, and we always held it at this old Indian fort close to where I lived. It was called Fort Belknap. The adults would gather on Saturday night and they'd sing hymns in the old chapel while the kids would, just run around and play in the fort. We'd climb the defensive walls and, throw around a frisbee or a football. It was a very magical time for me as a kid because, we'd be out there playing and having fun. And then as the sun went down and the stars came out, the ground would suddenly just become illuminated with thousands of blinking little yellow lights streaking around in these almost mystical swarms. And it was all accompanied by this chorus of my family members singing old time, gospel songs in the choir right there. It was really great. And this probably sounds like I'm waxing nostalgic here, and clearly I am. But I mean, this is like a core memory for me. Like I said, it was like a magical thing when I was a kid. Fireflies were everywhere when I was growing up. I mean, any summer night, we'd have hundreds of them in our backyard. We never even bothered to catch them. Like people always talk about catching them in jars and stuff like that. We didn't even bother to because they were just everywhere. Flash forward to today, my wife and I were handing out Halloween candy on Halloween night, and I saw one firefly in the yard, and I almost scared the kids because I freaked out so much. I feel like seeing a firefly now is kind of like seeing a shooting star. It's like a noteworthy thing. Now, granted, I live in the city now, and I used to live in the country back then. Obviously, there were more bugs in the country, but, my family still lives there, and I make that drive all the time, and that drive has changed. Like, when I was in college and I made that same drive, I would have to wash my car when I got home, because it was just covered with bug guts, like moths and mayflies, mosquitoes, big fat grasshoppers. It was gross. But nowadays, I get a handful of dead bugs on there, but nothing like it used to be. I'm sure many of you have probably had a similar experience, and you maybe even thought it was a good thing. It is not. You're not crazy. Bug populations have been declining, all around the world, in alarming numbers. So much so that researchers have started calling it the bug apocalypse. The story I just told is anecdotal, and I'm sure many of you have had a similar experience. I'm sure many of you are sharing that experience in the comments right now. But it's not just anecdotal, and it's not just the stories that people are telling. It is true. Bugs have been vanishing for a while now, and the numbers are kind of crazy.
They want us to eat the bugs, and then they complain about no bugs.
For insects, where they actually track the insects and the numbers and whatnot, and they've seen a 75% drop in less than 30 years. The number of beetles has dropped by 83% here in the U.S. in the last 45 years. In Puerto Rico, insect biomass has dropped 60-fold over the last 50 years. And I'm not just talking about in the cities. I mean in like protected areas like those German reserves that I was talking about. Those are pretty far away from human influence. It's estimated that insect biomass declines by 1% to 2% every single year. Dr. David Wagner thinks that that's actually too low, telling The Guardian, quote, "Now I would say that 2% is happening in some areas, and we're seeing some places threatened by climate change or urbanization or agriculture get as high as 5% decline per year." The journal Ecology published a study that found that the number of flying insects declined by an average of 6.6% annually over 15 years. That's almost a 73% drop in the population. You want more scary stats? Here's one more scary stat. The Bumblebee Conservation Trust in the UK found in 2024 that it was the worst year for bumblebees since they began recording their numbers. It showed that on average, 24 bee species in Great Britain declined by 22.5%. Some species even dropped by 39%. Yes, big numbers, big scary. Here's why it matters. All right, let's start with the bees. We all love our bees, right? They're nature's pollinators. But bees aren't the only pollinators out there. There's butterflies, ants, beetles, even, I hate to admit it, wasps. They're all doing the hard work of pollinating more than 80% of the world's flowering plants. Plants that give us things like fruit, vegetables, nuts, spices, coffee, and chocolate. Thank you, pollinators. Not having pollinators.
Yeah, that is a big problem.
Bad.
Who do you think commits the vast majority of the mass shootings?
I'm sure it's white people.
Right. So how do you feel about that?
I think that white people do more antisocial violence. I think black people participate in more gang violence. I think that's the difference.
What's the difference to the victims?
There's no difference to the victim, but it's a different kind of crime, and it's a different proportion also. Do you know what percentage of white people are school shooters?
I know that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools in America this century were perpetrated by young white men. And I'm
and
just,
what proportion
I'm curious.
What proportion?
I'm curious whether your advice would be to people who have kids in these schools.
Wait, is my mic working? What proportion?
Should they avoid white people at school? Should people with the kids at school avoid young white men at school?
No.
Okay.
Do you know what per capita means? Do you know proportionality? There are more black people proportionally that engage in violent crime or are involved in gangs, especially in these major cities, than there are white people that are school shooters compared to the entire white population, and everybody understands that.
Two-thirds of mass shootings at school perpetrated by white people.
But what proportion of white men commit school shootings? That's the question.
I've just told you. It's 60-65% of school shootings by white people.
You're telling me what proportion of school shootings are committed by white people. I'm saying what proportion of white people have committed school shootings. Are you playing dumb, or are you just not that smart?
What difference does that make to the children lying dead on the ground?
See, now you want to jump on the victims. The difference is you're asking, would you fear white people or black people? And that's the difference. The difference is in terms
What I'm saying
of
to you is, by your logic, if we now have agreed that the vast majority of mass shootings in schools are committed by white people and predominantly young white men, then presumably your advice would be to avoid young white men because they perpetrate these massacres. But it won't be because they're white, right?
So are you playing dumb, or are you actually dumb?
Maybe
it's
I'm
about
dumb.
proportionality.
Maybe I'm dumb.
You are because you're, well, I don't think you are dumb. I think you're smart actually, but you're deliberately avoiding per capita. And everybody knows that's the difference. What proportion of white men are school shooters? It's probably 0.00001%. What proportion of black men have committed violent crimes? It's probably like 5%. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but it's very high. And I would add to that, even as it concerns schools, why do you think parents pay a super high property tax to live in a school district where there's white people? Because they know that if they go to the black school, it's going to be the Bloods and the Crips. It's going to be gangs. It's going to be, you talk about school shootings. Nobody talks about all the school shootings that are committed by gangbangers in and around the school and all the other violence that's associated with that. I mean, these schools in the south side of Chicago, it's just not livable.
I have an answer for you, Nick. So the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings is actually the same for black and white.
For white people, the proportion of
The proportion
Again,
of the
are you
population.
hearing it? No.
See,
What's
I
the
think the trouble with your
proportion?
statistics is a lot of them don't bear much scrutiny. We have a bunch of fact checkers checking all this in real time because you do have a tendency to just come out with a lot of old baloney. And when you say, you know,
okay,
well, it's true. And when you're confronted
What-
with
but you're-
when you're
wait,
confronted
what's
with
the
reality,
figure?
you don't like it.
What's the figure? What proportion of white people have committed school shootings? With white people as the denominator and white people that have committed school shootings as the numerator, what's that percentage?
For both black and whites, the proportion of the population who carry out mass shootings generally is about the same.
No. Tell me the number, and then
your
Okay.
the only focus of your attention is the black shootings, the black crime. You don't want to live around black people. You want to avoid black people. You don't want interracial marriages or relationships that may produce black people. And yet, when I point out to you that there are many parts of crime in America.
Gotcha.
After the tackle from Wilson, beautiful hands from Max Mapipi. The Japan for Lucanio.
I have to rinse my plate on it.
That's the first try that we've ever scored in a World Cup final. And scored by possibly the player that has come from the most hopeless situation in the history of Springbok rugby.
Who was Makazola playing for that day?
No, he was playing, I think, obviously, he was playing for South Africa. And I think if you talk to him, I don't know, do you know the story about the jerseys?
Why is he crying?
On the back of your numbers, you had to have family members. You can give him photos of family members. He only had photos of himself. Because he didn't have anybody else. And I say, why are you doing this? And he says he's got nobody. His brother died. His mom died there, his father, he doesn't have a photo. So he doesn't play for one thing. He's just got massive heart. Massive heart.
All right.
Minifix is your
250,000
one-stop
pieces.
shop for all things Lego. Hit the link below to find a store near you. Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at Brick Fair Chantilly, and today we're taking a look at this incredible large Harry Potter layout. I've got several of the builders with me here, so if you guys want to introduce yourselves, then we'll take a look at the layout.
Absolutely. I'm Daniel Konstansky.
I am Damaris Konstansky. Thasia Konstansky.
And I'm Will Tochik.
Okay, very nice. So Daniel, if you want to start off with kind of an overview of what we've got here.
Absolutely. So this is a build that you guys have featured before, so it's been growing through the years. So it's the full Hogwarts castle. Every tower and everything that as seen on film is represented here. And then through the years, we've then slowly added Hogsmeade and some of the grounds and some of the various things tied into the different challenges. So we've got Durmstrang ships, some of the towers from the Triwizard Tournament. And then we've also got a full Diagon Alley with Gringotts, and then some of the new stuff from this year is we've now gone underground. So it was kind of the last place we could do. We've done all the stuff above, so now we needed to go below. So we've got a full mine cart area underneath Gringotts that Will did a really amazing job of. And then my daughters and I did the several of the underground scenes from Hogwarts itself. So we've got all the ones from the initial book where they go through the various challenges.
My
to get to
girlfriend
the
is
mirror of Mirror of Erised, I am told. And then we've also then got the Chamber of Secrets with all the snakes and the snake statues and all of that stuff as well. And then, we've also the other big change this year is Will's dad Heath is very into the lighting side of the Lego hobby, and so he has now lit the whole thing for the first time, which is something we've always wanted to do but have never been able to just because of it being so big. But he's been gearing up for about a year now, and this is we finally got it done. So
I love that. So there's so much to see here. So why don't you start off with these
I
sections?
know I was gonna say girls.
And kind of take us through in more detail.
Sure, absolutely.
There's only one girl there.
Obviously, the front here is kind of the classic Hogwarts angle, if you will, looking up at the Great Hall and all of that. So got the two wings, kind of the dormitory side over here, and then the classrooms with the greenhouses and everything over there to the right, the astronomy tower, where Dumbledore falls. Oops, sorry, no spoilers. And then
what the hell?
In the front, and
I was just reading that one.
Around to the side, we've got some of the various things from the various challenges. Again, the towers, the Durmstrang ship. We've also got an underwater scene here that Will did, which shows where they're going to have to dive down and rescue their friends. And Lego very conveniently has released some sets related to that since we first did the castle, so we've been able to take advantage of some of the special elements
from the
and
fourth
figures
movie
and all of that. But my Durmstrang ship was before the official one, so.
And it's very impressive. What are some of the details you can tell us about here?
The movie makers were brutal with their angles, so the whole thing is crazy in terms of angles. So yeah, so the front here is pitched up at an angle, and then the backside, the whole rear of the ship is tilted forward as seen on screen, and that was really painful to try to get right. So I'm very pleased with how it turned out. And then it's just all the.
All right, I'm very pleased too. All right, no further links. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chad. All right, I just got some information yesterday that it's less than a month remaining. It starts at the very beginning of January. The Pro League that we're playing in. So we gotta warm up some, chat. Got a nice little queue. We haven't played anything. Freshly plat. It's time for some warmo uppo. Because I don't have the entire of December. We still have some Path of Exile upcoming and some more Bubba G. Swap order. No, I don't think so. We gotta find an alt as well. Another character for us. Because I think that the pro teams are gonna ban my guy. My champ. Hello? Kappa 123? Baby Rage 123? Let's try Conqueror. Alright. Do we have a game capture? No, wait, you can't game capture League, can you? What the fuck? Why is it just black screen? My league. What the fuck? What's happening right now? My, like, not the OBS, the actual league is just crashed. I guess I have enough time to reconnect. That's weird. Reconnect. $19.96 drivers. Oh.